What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Second Avenue Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathon and Elijah.
I'm your other host, Elijah Venencia. We got to kick it off with some tough news here. Started off on a bad note. GG's to the basketball season. We weren't able to pull it out in the first round of the playoffs. I think we played a significantly better team and everything, and it just didn't end up going our way. What are your thoughts on that?
The thing is, I wouldn't say they're significantly better. They're a good team, but I think we kind of lacked a little bit in this last game. I think we've had better games. I think we played better against an undefeated team. We had pretty good games. We had good moments in that game, but I wasn't 100% happy with our performance. But it was a decently fun season. Obviously, would have loved to get some more wins, but it was all right. It was an all right season. We're looking forward next year, though, hopefully.
Definitely. And I mean, just shout out to you. I'll let the viewers know you had your best game of the season offensively and everything. So, I mean, props to the man. For me, I probably had one of my worst games, but I wasn't there often. Supposed to be there for offense and everything. I think 3 shots and they're all pretty bad. So,
yeah, I think I was happy with my performance on offense. Like, I think I probably had like 30. Like, that was like maybe the most points I've ever scored in a basketball game, like a full game. I was like, okay, like I was pretty happy with my performance, but like obviously would have rather had 15 in a win than 30 in a loss. So
facts. Tough. We're just gonna get back in the lab, start going crazy this summer, McFerrin Park, so
it was tough. But I was kind of taking your spot this game. I was kind of the one talking a little bit of game.
Yeah.
Do you like that side of me?
I did a little bit. It was just like one kid on their team too. I think everybody else, was just respected it and everything. So
I'll tell the story a little bit, but there was a kid on the other team and he was like one of those kids who's picking up full court on defense and he's just in your face. Patrick Beverly type, if you're familiar.
He was playing my role for their team.
He was the Elijah of the other team and he was on me, and then I don't know, he thought he was good or something because I didn't score on a couple possessions, and I was like I had like 8 points the first quarter, and then like I went scoreless on a couple possessions, and he was like, oh, and I went to the bench and subbed out at the start of the second quarter so somebody else come in. He's like, y'all scared of me. And I was like, scared of you? I'm on the bench. I'm like, you're trash. Like, I was like, you're a bum. Like, I'm just yelling at this kid. And then at halftime, somebody who was like the equivalent of their like Devin, like their coach, came over and was like, yo, keep it up. He's a bum. And I was like, I'm glad you see that. I'm glad you're not like oblivious and think he's good.
Yeah. It was interesting to see it and seeing that side of you. So we are holding open tryouts to any listeners or anything. So I mean, just slide through to McFerrin and get that 10-day.
Yep, every Sunday, McFerrin Park. Show us all summer, and maybe you'll get a spot in the Range Brothers come next winter. So we'll see. But overall, decent season. Ready to look forward to next season, though. Ready to get past this one.
Definitely. Let's move on. We had a big weekend together. The family ties were strong this weekend. Let's get into that a little bit.
Yeah, the boys. We took a trip to Chicago, hung out with the cousin Jenna. We had a good time. Went to the Bulls game, went to the zoo, had a long journey to the zoo. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. So, I mean, Jenna, if you're listening, we were talking about this on the way back. We were like, because like any walk, she's like, oh, it's just like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Yeah. She's like, it's just a few blocks. And it was like an hour and a half walk. We were feeling it for sure. Maybe that's why we lost, dead legs from our 20,000 steps the day before. So
facts. I had like 25,000 steps and I was like, oh my God, that's the most I had in a minute. And yeah, so Jenna said that it was a 30-minute walk to the zoo from her apartment. We're like, oh, sick, something to do. Let's do it. It was definitely an hour and it was hot. Like I was not expecting it to be warm. It was like 60. I would have worn like shorts and a hoodie if I knew it was gonna be temperature, but I was in shorts and sweatpants and I was like literally sweating. I was like, this is unbearable.
Definitely. Shout out to cousin Jenna though for the hospitality and everything. It was just a whirlwind of emotion with all these fans like rushing into her apartment and everything. We had to get to the elevator real quick. So
yeah, we had to call the CPD a couple times to get us transportation. We're just too big now.
Yeah, for sure.
Nah, one day though.
Yeah. I mean, so then a great trip, of course. And then what was it? Wednesday, actually, we saw the Batman together with a couple other friends. Shout out Cameron, shout out Anthony, shout out Mauricio. Got to get them boys in the video. But what were your thoughts on the movie?
So on the way there, I was like, Boys, I gotta be honest. My superhero movie experience is pretty minimal. I went and saw Avengers Endgame because I was like, oh, everybody's going to see all my friends. I was like, I can't just not go. But that was like the first Avengers movie I'd ever seen. So I was kind of like, oh, what's going on? But I watched the videos like a recap before we went. So I was like, okay, like I know what happens a little bit, but not, I haven't seen it all for myself. So I definitely need to go back and watch those. But I'd never seen any of the Batman movies either, except for like when I was a little kid, I was super into that stuff. So I watched them, but not in like my, the part of my life where I was the one choosing what movies I was watching and stuff more like that.
Yeah.
Like I hadn't seen The Dark Knight, any of that trilogy. So I was like, okay, but I was pretty sure this was like a standalone, like new start. So I was like, okay, I can go watch this one, see how I like it. Let's do it, whatever. And I heard it had been pretty hyped up, but overall, I really liked it. And then it's kind of got me hooked. Like last night I watched Batman Begins, then today I watched The Dark Knight. Like I'm just kind of all in on Batman now. I'm about to catch up. I've only seen the OG Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, so I'm about to get on those too. I'm about to just, my superhero bag is about to expand.
Yeah, your spring break's gonna go crazy. But I mean, I'm the complete opposite. I'm super into all the Marvel movies, in theaters, opening weekend and everything. So I thought the Batman, it was a very good movie though. It was, in my opinion, I'll make a lot of flack for this. I've been seeing this going around, but I agree. The Batman is better than the Dark Knight. It just told such a great story, and just the film work in it was amazing. I mean, it's gonna go crazy at the awards show. Another thing I was reading when I was I do the same thing, watch videos on it, but I saw that Matt Reeves says Robert Pattinson's Batman was inspired by Kurt Cobain. Obviously with the song "Something in the Way." I mean, that song is a banger, prevalent throughout the whole movie. It's going crazy. How'd you feel about that? How'd you feel about the soundtrack, even though it was about one song or a couple songs maybe?
No, that was something, like I said, I hadn't really seen any, so I didn't know if they traditionally use like real songs outside of the universe, like the cinematic universe, or like just the score. And so it was kind of surprising when that Nirvana song came out. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then it kind of just kept coming up again in the movie, but it was really cool. And I thought it really fit the vibe. I do kind of like this Batman. And I agree with you that it is better than Dark Knight. I just saw it today. Obviously, it's a very, very hyped up movie, The Dark Knight. And so I had high expectations going in, and it was really good. But I think that this one is better. The Batman just hit a little bit different. It was such a different vibe. Like Matt Reeves in that same interview, he said, rather than make Bruce Wayne the playboy version we've seen before, there's another version who has gone through a great tragedy and become a recluse. And I thought that was such a great quote because it's so true. Like, I think that's a much more realistic version of what Batman would be. Like in the Dark Knight and stuff, he's flying and he's a playboy, like Matt Reeves said. But then you look at the Batman, and he's much more grounded in his personality and in his like movement and stuff like that. It seems like much more realistic to me. Like I feel like if your parents died, you'd be much more like depressed and kind of sad, like Robert Pattinson's Batman was versus the what's his name?
Who was it? Christian Bale, and then there's Ben
Christian Bale
Affleck as
Batman.
well.
Yeah. See, I'm new to the game. I forgot.
Yeah, definitely. And for me, he killed it. I was a little skeptical at first when putting like Twilight and Batman. They don't really go hand in hand, but I thought he absolutely killed it as the Batman. I'm very excited to see what they have planned. Huge teaser at the end. So,
all right, whatever. We got to move past the Batman. Get back to the music. Back to the basics. This week on Second Avenue Podcast, we are joined by our first ever guest. We have my sister Lauren and our cousin Sami. This episode is going to be a banger. Very excited to have them on. We've obviously grown up together. We've gone to concerts together before, so excited to talk a little bit about that. And then we're going to build our perfect music festival. Let's get into it. All right, welcome to the podcast, Lauren and Sami. We're so happy to have you guys. Family ties. We keep going back to that. Good to have you on the show. Tell people a little about yourselves.
Okay, I'll go first. So I'm Lauren. I'm a cousin to Elijah and Jonathan's sister. About me, I am a senior at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. I'm majoring in communication. I don't know what I'm doing after graduation. Don't ask me. But if you have a job in communication, let me know. Second Avenue ties, I guess I have to mention. Jonathan's probably told this story many times. I know I listen, but we would spend a lot of time at our grandparents' house. So would Elijah. So would Sami. Like that was our meeting place. So that's my tie to Second Avenue.
We'd love to hear that. Sami, what's going on with you? Tell the people.
Okay. Well, I'm cousins to all of you. I go to the University of Iowa and I'm a senior studying public health, minoring in social work. A job interview next week. So we'll see what I'm doing next year with that. So
we'll see. One of our biggest fans, Mauricio, he's a huge Iowa fan. You know, that's where the Big Ten runs through. It's kind of just a troll, but he'll love that. He'll love that you're from Iowa for sure.
I love
from
wearing
Iowa,
that.
But you go there.
Yeah, I love wearing the Iowa shirt. Over the winter break, I went to see Sami with Lauren, and I got an Iowa shirt, and I wore it to play basketball here in Hubson a couple days ago. And they're like, "Oh, take that off, Illinois."
Yeah,
and I'm like, "It's a shirt, man. Like, it's not that deep." I was like, "It's just a workout shirt. We're playing basketball. Like, whatever." Anyway, but so for today's podcast, you know, Sami and Lauren and I have gone to Lollapalooza together, met up there another year, and Sami and I did. So we thought, what better group to build the perfect festival with than this group? And Elijah's had his experiences of Rolling Loud. I've gone to Lyrical Lemonade Summer Smash as well. So we built a chart of $15 budget, and you have different options at the $5, $4, $3, $2, and $1 values to build your perfect festival. So let's get into it. At the $5 value, you have Drake, The Weeknd, Kanye West, Kendrick Lamar, Frank Ocean. At the $4 value, you have Tyler the Creator, Doja Cat, J. Cole, Olivia Rodrigo, and then at every other dollar value here, we have some intangible options. So at $4, you have front row / VIP. So if you're trying to get that pit area, you want to go front row, or if you're trying to sit back but have a comfortable experience, VIP. Then at $3, SZA, Jack Harlow, Post Malone, Brockhampton, and then the intangible, Perfect Weather. Very underrated option. At $2, Dominic Fike, Brent Faiyaz, Vince Staples, Baby Keem. And that $2, you don't have to walk in between the stages. Get a golf cart, get a golf cart transportation. Lastly, at $1, Rex Orange County, Earl Sweatshirt, Amine, Corday, and then no lines for food and bathroom. Some good options, guys. Who wants to go first with their choices?
All right, let's get into my list here. Kicking it off, I had to go with the boy, Drake. I haven't seen him live yet. That's one that's definitely on my list. I've always wanted to go to like OVO Fest or something. Obviously, that'd be something a little past, what we're doing here in the States. Got to get a passport for all that, but definitely one of my picks there. Moving on, this one was I had to hammer this one at $3. Perfect Weather is just, that's not beatable. That's always gonna be a cop for me. That probably would have been a $5 cop for sure. So I had to go with that one. For one of my $2 picks, I had Baby Keem. Just bought tickets to one of his concerts actually, so very excited to see that. Almost busted in the floor at Detroit, so hopefully we're getting an experience like that with him at my hypothetical festival. And then I also have Vince Staples in my $2 category. Another good pick there. I feel like you get the crowd hype and everything. And then for a $3 option, I chose Brockhampton. With them breaking up, will I ever get to see them again? Yes, at my hypothetical festival, they will be there. With a lot of my picks, like we were talking in the PlayStation party earlier this week, it was just like, do they have to go together? Or, I was like, I'm just going to pick who I want to see, I don't care, if they go together or not. That was my method there. So what do you guys think about those choices?
I like those choices. Drake, obviously a fan favorite, put on a show, unless you're at Camp Flog Gnaw. But no, that's a great choice. And I think there's a lot of value in that Perfect Weather pick. That's such an underrated choice because, it could be raining. It could be too hot. It probably would never be too cold, but it could be raining or too hot, which are the two things you don't really want. So that Perfect Weather is definitely an underrated choice. But then you miss out on the moments like, your J. Cole in the rain at Rolling Loud. So
I mean, is that the perfect weather though? Rain coming down, just the songs going. Like,
hey, it's your choice. You tell me.
Yeah, I don't know what my perfect weather would be. Probably just maybe that for some of the performances, of course. But like, I just bought tickets to Rolling Loud Miami as well. Finally did that. If you listen to kept up with it last week, and it's just going to be so hot, but the lineup is just so tough that I have to do it. So
I respect it. What do you guys think, Sami and Lauren?
I think Perfect Weather, that's bold. Because I feel like if you're seeing people you like, you don't care about the weather. I'm thinking about how when we were seeing Tyler, it was getting hot. The air was thin. I didn't know if I was gonna make it out. But anyway, I feel like if you want to see those people, you'll go through whatever to do it.
Definitely. I like that point. Sami, what are your thoughts?
I personally would like all like the extras, like good weather, like whatever, like that doesn't, like when I'm seeing someone I like that just does not, I'm not even thinking about that. Like, and like when we were in those crowds at Lala, like it was just the heat made between the bodies, like not even the heat outside, like was ridiculous. So I think that even like if it is nice out, it's still going to be hot just because you're body to body with people. But that's what makes it fun, I feel like. So
Definitely. It was freezing in New York and it was still like pretty, it got hot at times, but then the rain cooled us down a little bit. So maybe the rain is my perfect weather.
or just make people like stinky. Like,
Yeah, no,
That too.
Yeah.
But you smell and so does everyone else.
it's like ripe. I don't know. But it would be fun though. Like that'd be
That is an underrated point there. I like that one.
Sam, you want to kick us off with your choices here?
yeah. Okay. So for $5, I was debating between Frank Ocean and Kendrick, but I went with Kendrick because I feel like that would just be just an experience like that. There's so much music that he has that it would just be like in my head, I imagine that he'll be the last performer of the day. So that's why I chose him as last.
Definitely a headliner.
And then the next one I chose was Doja Cat, just because I want to see her perform. I went to Lala the day after we all went together, and I saw Megan, which was it was a really good concert. So I feel like she'd be similar vibes. So I want to see Doja. And then Amine was my last choice because he's just someone else I want to see perform live.
Wait, is that 10? You're only $10.
That's $10.
Oh, it's $10?
Yeah, you got
Okay.
5 left.
Oh shoot. Okay. So I didn't calculate that right, but the other person I was looking at is Dominic Fike, who I've been a fan of his for a while, but now he's like, really popped off because of Euphoria.
Okay, so now you have $3 left. What are you doing with the $3?
Okay, probably SZA for my last one.
I think that's a good choice. I when I was making the list, I thought one of you guys would pick SZA, if not both of you. Obviously, I thought about it as well. But no, I think that's a really good list, really good diversity there. Obviously, Kendrick as the closer makes perfect sense. I can definitely see that putting on a show. And I really like the SZA Doja Cat combo. Yeah, maybe do Kiss Me More together. That hit it a little bit different, I'm just making stuff up here. What do you guys think about that?
Definitely. I mean, those are very solid picks. The point you made with Megan Thee Stallion, I was watching like I think it just came up on my feed from Rolling Loud, like their Twitter, and she went crazy. The crowd was going crazy. So, I mean, to your point, I think Doja Cat's going to bring the same hype there.
Definitely.
I'm obsessed with Doja. Spoiler alert, you'll hear mine in a minute, but yeah, she's cool.
Definitely a lot of good choices there. I don't think you'll wrong with any of the options here. Lauren, you want to get into your selections for your perfect festival?
All right. So seeing all of your options, you were lacking in the female category. So I'm going to start $4, Doja Cat, obviously. She's so funny. First of all, her TikToks, but that's not what matters. She has a lot of music out there and it's all so catchy. I'm obsessed with it. I'll bounce up to my $5. I have 2 in the $5 category. I hope that's not double dipping. This is just my perfect thing. What I would want to see. The Weeknd. That man's never made a song I didn't like. So that'd be really cool too. Second, right there with him, Frank Ocean. Gets me through the hard times. Frank, he's been there. So those 3, and then that leaves me with $1 for Rex Orange County, which has just always been a rider. That's just like a chill vibe. I see why you guys put him at $1. New album just came out today.
Love that plug.
Yeah. We'll get into that later.
Yeah, we'll get into that with the new
That'd be my
for this
festival.
week. But I think that's a good selection. I didn't know how you'd feel about the Olivia Rodrigo option. I love some
That was tough. This is what I have to say about that though. She's still really young and she has like one album and like the one High School Musical song that everybody likes. But once she's like older and has more songs, I'd go crazy for that too.
Definitely. And Jonathan and I were texting about it throughout the week. We're like, is Olivia Rodrigo a $4 pick? What would you guys say? Would you say she's, on that tier?
Personally, I just like don't listen to her a ton. So I wouldn't rank her as high, but not saying that she's a bad artist. Like she does have good songs. So
And I think she's right now she's got the hype that I see why you guys threw her up there. But that's what I'm saying. Like in the future, if she's got more music out and like she hits good for you in her lineup, that'd go crazy for like this era hitting it. So that's what I think about that.
Yeah, no, she's definitely doing numbers. That's why I put her up there. I was like, is she on the same level as like Tyler? And then I was kind of like the $3. I was like, she's probably more popular like in the mainstream than SZA, Jack Harlow. Post Malone is close. Like I put Post Malone at 3. He could be a 4, but that was close. But I was like, I think Olivia Rodrigo does belong up there. Obviously, like you said, she doesn't have too much music out, but people love O-Rod. People love what she's got out. So
Definitely. And like
I'm
the
happy.
point I made to you, she wasn't like a one-hit wonder. Like she killed it with that Sour album. I really enjoyed it and everything. As definitely not my taste, but still, see it everywhere. And I'll bang a few songs here and there. So
Lauren, I did like though how you put The Weeknd as your $5 pick. Me and Jonathan saw him at Lala, and I will say he was a very good live performer. Like he does sound a lot like how he does on the radio. So that's a good pick.
I think about those people who were hating on him for the Super Bowl. They're missing out. That's their loss.
he killed it at the
I'll
Super
be
Bowl.
there.
So
Yeah,
fire.
that was in our Super Bowl episode. He killed it. That was one of my favorite performances I've seen. So
no, I definitely agree. And Sammy, I'm with you. The Weeknd, seeing him live was like something I've been waiting for years. And then for to finally happen, I was in that pit in Lala in like the 10th row by myself. And it just hit a little bit different. I was sitting there just so close to this man I've been listening to for like 6 years. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. So good live.
You came out of the womb listening to him.
I did.
That's you'll tell anybody that story.
I did.
My picks, I feel like we're still like based around like moshing and everything. I'm big into that. Like, what are your guys' thoughts on that? How are you guys at a festival? Are you more chill vibes? Or you like jumping around? People?
I feel like personally, I'm like trying to be in the middle of that, but like safely, like I don't want to be the one like running through. Like I like being on the outside, like watching it happen. But I like
being Lala. Jonathan would just be lost. He's gone. Me and you, we're linked. We're linked, holding on to dear life. Jonathan's, who knows? He's with some other group across the like giant sea of people.
Some of those pits you need like wrapped around, holding on both hands to keep your person. It's very difficult to stay together without doing that.
And it goes back to the first episode. You were talking about Rolling Loud, you're talking about Lil TJ, Call My Phone, and people were like moshing. I just don't understand people's thought process about moshing. They're trying to mosh to every song. Tyler's doing like Earthquake, and they're like just trying to get after it to Playboy Cardi. And I'm like, what are we doing? Like, I could see that at a Playboy Cardi concert because they're crazy, but at a Tyler concert, at a festival, what are we doing? I'm just trying to chill there, trying to listen to music, but it's all a good time.
It depends on the artist,
Definitely. I think it fits every artist. And, like you had made the point to me, we'll get your friend Levi on for, a great episode we're going to have with them. So stay tuned for that.
Definitely. And then back to kind of just wild pits. Sammy, tell us about the time Lil Pump went crazy.
Oh my God.
Just talk about this experience.
Yeah. Well, we had gone to Lala separately that year. And when we were waiting, I was like, oh my gosh, that's my cousin Jonathan. Like a few people up. So we like meet up. And I'm with two of my friends, and your friends are there too. But then eventually, like, we had waited for him for like an hour, like in the heat. It was like midday, like during the summer. So it's like peak heat and humidity. And people were passing out left and right. And both of my friends ended up having to get like carried out because they just like, this was like not even 5 minutes into the concert, like one left before it even started. So it was bad from the get-go. And then it ended up just being me and you. I don't remember what happened to your friends. I don't know if you could.
Yeah, I met up with my friend Tran, and he was like, it's too hot, I'm like getting out of here. And I was like, I respect that. He just went away, and I met up with him later, I think. But we had an okay time at Lil Pump. I mean, like you said, he took forever to come out. I feel like something crazy was going on behind the scenes because when he came out, Logic's DJ Rhetoric was his DJ, and I was like, okay, like something is up. Like I don't know what happened, but it was just bizarre. And then Lil Pump only did like, I don't know, like 10 songs or whatever. And his songs were like 2 minutes long, so it was really quick. Yeah. And I was in like the very, very front because it was just like a sea of people pushing towards the front. I ended up like in like the second row, and I'm like, I don't even like Lil Pump like this. And it was so hot, and I was getting so squished by other people that I was, I had an internal conflict in my head, and I was like, I'm getting pulled out of this pit because I can't breathe. And so I like looked at security, and I was like, I need to get out of here. Even though I was like, okay, but I was like, I'm just done. Because there were so many people, and I was in the very front. I was trying to leave too, like after that set to go to a different stage. So they just pull me out, and I'm like in between the front rail and the stage, and I'm just like making eye contact with Lil Pump, and I'm kind of just like looking at him for a second, and the security's like, you got to go, man. I'm like, all right, I saw enough. Like that's fine.
Yeah, that's when we got separated. Like when they really started pushing, because I ended up like other side of the stage, and this girl was like passing out, and her friend was like trying to get people's attention. They're like, stop, stop, stop. And she was like, we're leaving. I was like, wait, I want to come with you guys. So I like followed them out. And then that's when I met up with like my friends again.
No,
Yeah,
following people is like the ultimate finesse. Like if somebody's leaving, you got to go. You just get them behind them. If somebody's trying to get the front and you're trying to get the front, you just kind of grab somebody's shoulder and be like, oh, I'm coming with you. Like, and most of the time it works. It's fine. But sometimes people get really pissed about that.
Yeah, they were cool about it. So,
all right.
Let's get into some of your picks, Jonathan.
All right. Let's see what we got. Starting at $5. Sami, you said it. Kendrick Lamar. For $5, definitely worth the money. The GOAT of our generation. Gotta see Kendrick before he retires. Then, moving on, we went with the $1 value. One of my favorites out, though, Earl Sweatshirt. I see him as like, one of the early ones in the afternoon. Just starting the day off right, getting the vibes right. Earl Sweat, can't miss. Then at the $2 value, Elijah, you took him as well. Baby Keem. I know we're going to see him here in like 2 weeks, but I got to see Baby Keem. I love Baby Keem. I would see him 5 times this year if I could. I am a little bit worried about that Detroit breaking the floor, though. I'm not trying to go that crazy.
I'm trying to break. I'll say it. Yeah, I'll say it. I'm trying to break the floor in St. Louis.
I don't even know. That was just a crazy situation because it was like, it looked like they were on like the second story of a building. Like I think that's how the metro in Chicago is. Like you go upstairs to get to the stage. And so I think that's how they work. Cause like the video was like from staff, like on the first floor. You see the floor just bouncing. It was crazy. Then sticking with the $2 value, I had to go with Brent Faiyaz. I see him as like second in the day, just getting the vibes right again. In his toxic bag, a king, Brent Faiyaz. Got to see him at some point. One of my favorites out. And then, that leaves me with $5. So I got a lot I could play around with here. I didn't pick any intangibles, had to go with Frank Ocean. I would pay a stupid amount of money to see Frank Ocean live. And so in my perfect festival, he has to be there. He rarely ever does shows. And so an opportunity to see him and Kendrick in the same day, that would be crazy. I don't know who would get the headliner spot on that, who would close the night. What do you guys think about that? Who would you think would end the night?
That's very tough. 2 huge artists, but I think I got to go with Kendrick. You kind of want it, like you're saying, just earlier in the day, you got the more chill vibes and everything. So I think you put the more chill performer first and then let Kendrick, just do his thing there. What do you guys think?
I would say like Kendrick too, but part of the reason being that like he's been around longer and like not just people our age listen to him, like my dad likes him and he's obviously not our age, but I feel like he reaches a little bit of a different audience in that sense.
Yeah, I definitely think that's fair. I mean, Kendrick, one of the hottest out right now, but I do kind of think that go hard with Kendrick and then end the night with Frank at like 9:00 or whatever, hit that Frank Ocean. It'd be a good way to end the night. But I do agree, Frank would end.
I don't dislike that though, ending on a chill vibe either. So I mean,
yeah, that takes me back to my first ever festival experience. I went to Magnificent Color Day, Chance Rappers Festival in Chicago. Chance was not the closer for the night. It was Skrillex And that was just wild because it was in a big baseball stadium, but I'm like in a seat watching Skrillex, and I'm like, all right, like it was interesting. But he had a crazy light show. His mashups were pretty good. Played some of his songs like Wild for the Night, so it was cool. But I don't think I'd go to a Skrillex concert by my own choice.
Frank Ocean ending a festival. If I had a whole day out, like in the sun, whether my feet are hurting after walking miles, dehydrated, I'm down in the dumps, I'd be crying. I'd be on edge. Pisces girl. You can see me. Birthday week. But no, I'm just kidding. But not really. Frank, he would do it. He would have that effect on people.
She says, not really. Yeah, obviously we got to give a special happy birthday shout out to you guys. Both of their birthdays are the week that this episode is dropping. Sami, I believe, is on Wednesday, and Lauren is on Saturday. What day is it? Thursday?
Try again.
Tuesday and Friday,
Tuesday.
right?
No, hers is Saturday. I know yours is the 15th and hers is the 19th, but I just didn't do that math in my head. I know hers is
just
Saturday.
Be celebrating all week long. It doesn't matter.
Camera's rolling.
Yeah, it's always a celebration with these birthdays, so definitely got to celebrate.
And then Lauren, we got to go back. Talk about your first festival experience at Lollapalooza. How was you rate that experience overall? Me and Sami, we kind of had you walking around a lot. We kind of, we were making moves. It was a little sweaty. What'd you think? Would you go back?
Listen, we waited like an hour for Gus Dapperton just for him to like kind of march around the stage, and I was like, what am I doing here? But then we went to some other stage, and you were like, you're gonna need to like be careful. And so then I was sitting in mulch, just, and you wouldn't let me go see Ty Verdes because you're like, ew, yeah. So
I did not let you could do whatever you want, but I wasn't going.
We missed it. No, we already missed it. I also, my first time there, you'd already been there. You kind of have to like put me under your wing a little bit. You can't just leave your little sister out. Yeah.
You're grown.
And then I remember Boy Pablo. I just wanted to see Boy Pablo. And then this is some tea. I remember, Sami, we hiked to meet up with your friends, and somebody was fighting somebody's boyfriend, girlfriend. There was some drama going down, and we were standing there making sure everyone was okay. And then Boy Pablo, it could have been better. I know we could have got closer, but it was still fun, except for there was like a dad in front of me. Do you guys remember that?
I do remember that. Yeah, that was
a
weird.
Dad kind of.
He was vibing.
I was like, move,
had like
let me in.
A t-shirt tucked into his cargo shorts with a belt on. He was a super dad. Yeah, he was crazy.
Festival attendees come in like all different shapes and sizes, different ages and everything. It's crazy.
True. No shame. But then we ended up at Tyler. Okay, hold on. Between that, I think we ate some chicken strips that were, kind of good.
Oh, those are the chicken strips are before.
Was it before?
Before Boy Pablo? Yeah, I was not playing games between Boy Pablo and Tyler. I was going straight there because I wanted to be as close to Tyler as possible.
Yeah, so we're eating like $25 chicken strips, but it was worth it, whatever. And then, so Tyler, that was pretty cool. He's just like a good performer. Also, he's a little bit goofy too, kind of like Doja Cat. Like, I just like those people who are like funny and they're good performers. It like kind of warms your heart. You're like, this is cool. They're everything I thought they'd be. Yeah,
there was this clip on TikTok that's like went viral of Tyler. Somebody threw their driver's license on stage, and Tyler was like, this dude, he has a slave name. His name's Langston. And then he like ended the show by saying he was changing his rap name to Langston. And then like, I hope that kid got his license back because like, was it worth it? I feel like maybe it would be. I don't know.
Nah, that's definitely not worth it for your license, I feel like. And he kind of got roasted, honestly. Like,
kind of, but like Tyler, he said first and last name of this kid. Like, that's kind of a flex.
That's true. I guess if you think about it that way.
No, but yeah, it is kind of a hassle to go get a new license. So I don't know if it's really worth it, but like, I don't know. But yeah, like you said, Tyler, great performer, great interaction with the crowd, just all around goat.
All right, moving on to a couple questions we have for you guys. So Jonathon and I think I sent this to Jonathon on Twitter. It's probably been a couple weeks at this point. Someone on Twitter paid over $2,000 to see The Weeknd. What's the most you guys would pay for a concert? And who would it be, of course?
Yeah, like back to this perfect festival. What price would you pay to go to your perfect festival?
Okay, I'll go first. I started this episode with my introduction, be like, I don't know what I want to do after graduation. I want to have money. I know that, right? So I want to be those people like at Lala, like in the box, in the air conditioning, like drinks, food, just at my disposal. So 2000 for the weekend, I do that if I had the money. Right now, it's questionable, right? But yeah, I guess I wouldn't put a price on anybody that I'd want to see because it depends. And like, is it close? Can I like make it happen? Is it worth it? Is it at a festival? Am I getting more for my money? There's a lot of factors. I don't have a one answer to answer this with an artist and a price.
No, I definitely think that's fair. And then talking about having money, I just remember when we went to see Gus Dapperton at Lala, there was like children at the VIP section ahead of us standing on like boxes of water so they could see over the rail. Like the staff was just catering to every need, like got them water bottles, got them whatever. And I looked up how much the tickets cost for that section. And it was like, I don't remember, like maybe like $1,200 a ticket. And they had like a family of 4 or 5 and they just all were in that section. I was like, must be nice. Like, I don't know what they do, but they got money like that.
When we were little, we saw the Beach Boys like on a lawn. But that was our Beach Boys, I guess, at Lala with the headphones and everything, the front row.
I guess so. Like, I just can't imagine like what those parents, what made them be like, oh, we're going the day Tyler the Creator's there. That's the day we're going VIP. Our kids love Tyler. Like
Marshmello.
Marshmello.
There was a lot of kids out there for Marshmello.
They got the helmets on too. I saw a kid with a helmet on when we were at Polo G. That's crazy.
Yeah, for me, it kind of depends because like certain people you like, I guess like with Lauren, like it'd be hard to put a price on that, but like I would pay good money to see people who don't perform often or a lot. Like Frank, like he, who knows if we'll get to see him perform again, but like I would pay good money for people like that.
Yeah, it's like obviously very tough to, say, especially at the point we're at in our lives, how much you'd pay, but like I'd pay just about anything that I could like get by on afterwards to see Frank Ocean. Like I need to see him. Like word on the street is he's gonna be at Coachella next year. We might have to make it happen. I mean, who knows? Who knows when Frank's gonna be on another concert billing? So it might be the move. We'll see.
I have a set amount here. Oh, you guys are, you're all different, but
I have a big kid job.
Oh, stop, but I, thinking back on it, I think really if timing would have lined up correctly and everything with the free Larry Hoover concert, I would have been there for sure. It just didn't have any personal time to take off, and that would have been, I don't even know what the tickets were running for, but
they actually like that's something I would have.
Yeah, but it's like the thing I'm factoring into this a little bit too is like, the living or staying in LA, Ubers and everything. That's kind of what I factor in with that as well. The actual ticket, that is.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. Like me, if I was going to go see Frank at Coachella, like obviously the travel and all that would have to be pretty expensive. But I think the ticket alone for Larry Hoover was like maybe like $120 or something.
Yeah, no, cheap. Definitely not bad.
Yeah, but no, like you said, the travel definitely adds up. Like that's like you're talking about. Oh, come to Rolling Loud. I'm like, oh, like the ticket. That's one thing, but then staying there, eating food, travel,
plane ticket.
Yeah, that's gotta add up. I don't know if I got the bread like that. We're gonna have to see, and it's a couple months away, so we'll have to see as we get a little bit closer if I'm gonna be making the move too. So we have that full Second Avenue podcast trip to Rolling Loud Miami.
Are you guys gonna have a meet and greet?
We will. Yeah, if we both end up there, we got to have the meet and greet, but all I'm hearing, that's planting the seed. So I'll water it. I'll let this blossom.
Do that. But, we every week have questions from the audience we answer. And so when we put the Instagram post out there announcing that you guys would be on the show, we got a couple questions. A couple were, jokes, but we got 2 real good ones from my mom, Lauren's mom, Amy Linares. Well, let's see what Amy has for you guys. She says, it's Women's History Month. Who are women that inspire you and why? This question is mainly for Lauren and Sami and Elijah if you want to get on.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I was going to let you 2 answer this one.
It's their month. Let them go crazy.
It's double our month. B-Day month, Women's History Month. Can't lose. I'll go first by saying I've had a lot of experiences and like people I've grown up with, worked with, been in groups with. Pageants brought a lot of things to me. You guys knew I was gonna say that, but it's really like opened my eyes to what's out there for women. Like having a title like Miss Hoopston, but then also having the national level pageant to meet other girls. It's just really inspiring to me to just see that there's a lot of options out there for people, and it's almost humbling in a way to get to know them on a personal level. So to see people that you look up to but also getting to know them personally is like the coolest thing to me. So I wouldn't give like one person that like I idolize, look up to, inspire, but there's a lot of them out there. Shout out to them all, really.
I was expecting like a Michelle Obama from you.
Yeah. Well, it's different though too, right? I read her book. I'm a fan. But there's like other cool people. It depends what you do.
Yeah, exactly. And you have like a personal connection with other people that have made like a more distinct impact on your life. So I get why you mentioned like people you really know, but I just thought Michelle doesn't get that love. Sami, what
Who
about
would your
you?
pick be, Sami?
I guess like going like back to like relating it back to music, like I would say like female rappers, you know, like Megan and like Nicki and like Rihanna, you know, like they really like they've built like a career and they've like really made a name for themselves and like just having like a good work ethic and like making themselves known in like more than just as like musicians but as like people too, you know what I mean? Like I don't know.
No, like Rihanna's definitely running it up with Fenty, so that definitely great answer, really inspirational. But that kind of leads us into our second question here. When you need a confidence boost, which female artist or song do you listen to?
Okay, one song that gets me like really, you know, like hyped up, like, you know, gets me ready is Cocky AF by Megan Thee Stallion. If you can't tell, I'm a big fan of hers, so that's a good song by her though.
No, I think that's a good choice. Personally, I was talking to my mom and Lauren about this today. I was like, I don't know, like I'm not really going to like female rappers to, get my confidence back like that, but like I could see how Megan is like really doing it for you like that.
Yeah.
That was my expected pick for Megan Thee Stallion, at least one of the songs from one of you guys. So I mean,
yeah, I was gonna say like a lot of her music I feel like is good, just like confidence,
pick me up,
like, pump up. Yeah.
Oh yeah. What about you, Lauren?
I associate a lot of like hype songs with like things I listen to when I work out. Doja, Meg's thrown in there too. It just depends. I like some old songs too. I'm thinking like I don't know, old female artists, kind of like Lauryn Hill. That's a vibe. Sometimes, yeah. So it just depends what I throw on.
Now, Lauryn Hill, obviously a legend, so that's a great choice. But I like both those answers from you guys, so that was good.
All right, and then for our last question for you guys, what is your favorite memory from Second Avenue from Ma's house? What would your guys' favorite memory be with all four of us there, at least?
Oh my gosh,
Ever, yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah, there's a ton to choose from.
I have a few that I can think of.
Run us through one or two.
Okay.
We could go for 3 hours. So
yeah, definitely.
Just give us a little bit.
One thing just I feel like we did a lot when we were younger was just like mess with Blair. Like I don't know, like I feel like when he fell asleep, we would mess with him a lot. Like I don't know, I remember one time it was like Memorial Day, so we like put his hand over his heart and we all started singing the national anthem.
For context here, Blair is Elijah's younger brother. How old do you think he was at this point? He was probably like
he's probably like 2 or 3. Yeah, I mean Blair, he got it bad. We'd put him on top of cars and everything, just ball up there and everything.
Man.
But then another thing that came to mind was like all of our like ghost hunting, like Bigfoot videos that we would make.
Oh my god.
Was that the four of us in the video?
Yes. I remember that I had like the moose head on.
Yeah.
We had a finding Bigfoot phase. That was funny. like recording on our iPods out in the backyard just because it was dark. I was like kind of scared. That was funny. It was all four of us, and we had like names, and we were like making checklists for what we needed, what materials we needed, because we were out in the wild.
That was like an all-day dilemma too. Like I felt like we were recording when it was light out. We were outside recording like the potholes.
We were made for this content lifestyle. That's all I know. We were making videos at a young age. Like we belong here.
Greasy cheeses. That's for another day.
I was thinking about dropping that on the Instagram on Monday. No. We'll see. I think we might just save that for another day, but that video does go crazy. I think that's like one of the things we just have to tease for like a year, and then one day we'll eventually drop it. Like we hit 1,000 followers or something. But that video is maybe the best piece of content I've ever worked on. I don't know if Elijah knows what this is.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
I'll tell you later. I'll send you it later.
Yeah. So Lauren, do you have any, or do you have one you want to throw in there?
Well, I'm thinking that like that day we were planning for finding Bigfoot, our big excursion, like we'd be hanging out, maybe like right off a sleepover in the morning. Mom made us breakfast. We're hanging out all day. We're like still in pajamas. It's like noon. And then we just like walk over to our house, get stuff, go back, hang out, maybe throw in a Dairy Queen trip there. That's a vibe.
You guys are really missing like a core memory here. At least Jonathan and I talked about, we talked about it this weekend.
Okay.
For all of us?
Yes, for all of us, for every cousin, extended past us. But so it was the Sweet Corn Festival. If you guys don't know the Sweet Corn Festival, it's just like a carnival pretty much that's in Hoopeston every year, like 80 years running almost now. But there's always...
We got pause. We got the chairwoman of the National the National Sweet Corn Festival in this episode right now, Lauren Linares. Make some noise for her. Show her some love.
Plug it. Labor Day weekend, Hoopeston, Illinois. See y'all there.
Pop out. But so they have this fish game. You're shooting the ping pong balls into the fish bowls, and if you, as a kid, you come back with 4 or 5 fish. Your mom's pissed off. Like, what are we gonna do with these fish? So we have them all at my grandparents' house. One doesn't make it through the night, and we all wake up to the dead fish, and we are just all devastated, of course. And we go out back, dig a hole for it, and bury it in like a little jewelry box. And there's this iconic photo of all of us, just like Jonathan and me are crying. Jonathan's holding me, and that's got to get posted at some point for a Throwback Thursday.
Somebody's got it, yeah.
Yeah, no, we've been sitting on that one. That is one of the most legendary pictures I think of our family history. It's so fire. We're so sad, but we were like actually genuinely sad a little bit because that fish only got like, I don't know how old he was when he made it to carnival, but he only got like 16 hours in our possession. So RIP the dead look.
Carnival fish are a trigger for me. I've had too many.
Yeah, no, they never last. They never last, but it was still just as devastating losing
Lauren's
that one.
Lasted, didn't it?
Lauren's did.
Yeah. And then had a very tragic death. Too early, actually, some would say.
I guess I should tell that story because I was here for that.
That's trauma. That's trauma. I was like 19 just crying because my fish was swimming on its side at the kitchen table.
That was a crazy day. So Lauren was at DAC and I was home with my mom.
Then I was at work. It was late.
Yeah, it was really late. And all of a sudden I'm in my room and Lauren's room is right next to mine. And I heard like a just crash. And my mom like gasped. And I was like, I opened my door. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Like, what happened? And the fish bowl, she had like a classic glass fish bowl, just shattered. There's glass on the floor, water everywhere. And then the fish is just laying there on the carpet, like dead. Man, he wasn't dead yet, I guess, but he was
holding on.
Damn near close. Yeah.
It's not funny. I'm sitting here laughing.
No, it's really funny.
Oh my God. I was so on edge because I remember driving home and a deer ran out in front of me. So I'm like, oh my God, my night's crazy. And then I get home and Dad met me like in the garage and he was like, your fish is on the table. And I was like, I almost hit a deer though. Like, then I get in and in a Prairie Farms gallon, half gallon, whatever it is, container, it's just my fish on the top, floating on its side, holding on, just for like those last visiting hours. I'm gonna kick the bucket.
It just had to see you before it went. You know?
Literally, yeah.
It felt your presence.
It was a rider.
R.I.P. And then, there's a music moment to go along with it. You put a video of it with the song Keep Breathing or whatever by Ariana Grande. So we always go back to the music moments.
Definitely.
True. There's always a song to get you through something.
Man, that's like a trigger song. I bet now you're just like, R.I.P. Like you just can't let there's tears. You can't listen to that anymore without thinking of your fish. So R.I.P. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. It was only right to have you guys as our first guest on the podcast. So thank you very much for coming in. Everybody that's listening, let us know how you enjoyed our first guest. And of course, go show them some love. Tell them happy birthday this week. Hey, and we'll get some new guests moving forward. So let us know who you want us to have on the show in the comments.
Thank you guys so much for coming on. Plug the IGs, plug the social medias, get the.
Thank you, Jonathon and Elijah, for having us. It's an honor to be your first guest.
Yeah,
Keep up the good work.
All right, we love it.
Thank you guys for coming on. Peace.
All right, well, that was our first ever guest appearance on the podcast. We hope you guys enjoyed it. But of course, we got to move into this week's news. Let's start with the releases this week. We have a pretty strong week. We got Tana Talk 4 by Benny the Butcher, 7220 by Lil Durk, Candy Drip by Lucky Day, Who Cares by Rex Orange County, TW 2050 by Casey, Non-Perishable by Toby Lou, and In Dimes We Trust by Mike Dimes. Have you had a chance to listen to these projects? And if so, what did you think?
I went through Tana Talk 4 a little bit. This morning I had a busy day at work with the Big Ten tournament going on. So, catching up on all the games, of course. But I'll first listen to Tana Talk 4, is pretty solid so far. Added a few songs in. I got to give it more of an in-depth listen. What would your favorite project be out of this week so far?
It's tough between Tana Talk 4 and Candy Drip. I haven't got a chance to go fully through Candy Drip by Lucky Day, but he is so fire. He's very underrated R&B singer. If you're into that, give him a listen. This project is fire. There's a song with Smino. It's like the second song on the album. So good. So I definitely had to give that a full listen, and then I got to give Benny a couple more listens. Like you said, don't really have a full opinion on it, but it is fire. Production so good. Features really good. You got all the Griselda guys, Boldy, Westside Gun, I believe, and Conway, going crazy. So some great songs on there, and of course Johnny P's Caddy with Jermaine.
Definitely fire. It was a couple weeks back, but still, the single on it's just, of course, that's going to be in the rotation.
Oh yeah, and of course there was that LeBron James Instagram story today to him listening to that song. So that's how you know a fire album just dropped. If LeBron's in the back of the whip listening to it.
That's the stamp of approval.
Oh yeah.
Moving on, Smokers Club Fest, April 30th in California. You got Cudi, Rocky, and Cardi all headlining, of course. Then you got Schoolboy Q performing Oxymoron, Wiz Khalifa performing Kush and Orange Juice, Lupe Fiasco performing Food and Liquor, and just added Chief Keef performing Finally Rich. Who would you be most excited to see hypothetically if you went?
I think it'd be Lupe Fiasco. I love Lupe Fiasco. He's such an underrated rapper all time. He belongs in if not a top 10, a top 25 for, I think, best rapper ever. And he might be higher for me. I love Lupe. And this is obviously such a great project. So I'd love to see that full project. But I mean, even beyond these people, there's so many other great names. You got 2 Chainz, ASAP Ferg, Joey Badass, Flatbush Zombies, Danny Brown, Earl Sweatshirt, Young Lean, and even more than that. So this is a great festival. I feel like Rolling Loud's getting a lot of hype right now, but this one
that's flying under the radar a little bit. Yeah, definitely.
What about you? Are there any of these that you would love to see?
Ooh, that Schoolboy Q one, it's got that Oxymoron, it's just back in the day things, with that. It's fire album. I'm looking to add more vinyls, I'm looking through it. I think that one's got to make the cut in there. So
no, it's a fire cover. So I think that'd be a good choice too, beyond just the music. But this made me think, is there an artist that you'd want to see perform an entire old album during a set at a festival?
Oh, that's really a tough question. But I feel like this was, the impact this one had on me, it was right when I was going into high school, right as I was finishing my 8th grade year. If you're reading this, It's Too Late by Drake. I Views is my favorite album by Drake, but if you're reading this, It's Too Late, it's going to have more bangers and everything. That one's going to go crazy for sure. What would your pick be?
I think that's a really good choice. But my choice was Because the Internet by Childish Gambino. I feel like that album was so ahead of its time. And even like the stage performance and all that was just so good and told the story of the project. Um, and I feel like anybody who's like a creative, they look back on what they did, like, oh, I could have done that better. And I feel like that's how Gambino would have been. He'd be like, oh my God, I would have changed this. I would have changed that. Oh, for this song, I would have done that on the screens and I would have, whatever. I feel like he just have so many more ideas now, especially that he's had so much more experience with Atlanta and, kind of putting on a show on, TV and film. But I think that would help him with his stage performance as well. And I think he would just be telling a crazy story. It's one of my favorite albums of all time. And I'd love to see it because I don't think he'd be doing too much of that project in a concert in 2022.
Definitely. And to add, I just remembered that, just popped into my mind, even with Drake, he's probably going to even come up, with some What a Time to Be Alive songs in that set, hypothetically, of course. That's also at the peak of his beef with Meek Mill. So, I mean, I would love to see back-to-back live as well. My answer kind of expanded upon a little bit there, but, just that time period was just great for him. And I would love that.
Oh, yeah, I think that's definitely some good choices there. But moving on, we got some big news this week. PG Lang has signed Tana Leone to their label. He just dropped 2 new tracks called With the Villains and Lucky. He's a really low-key artist. He has under 10,000 followers on Instagram, but he's going to be opening for Baby Keem on the Melodic Blue Tour, which we're going to be seeing in St. Louis. So I gave these songs a listen and they're fire. So I'm looking forward to this. What do you think?
I was just about to say he killed it with both of them tracks, killed it, just recently signed and everything. So, I mean, go give the man a listen because he's got the stamp of approval from Second Avenue, of course. So,
oh yeah. And you're going to be early. He has like 8,000 followers on Instagram and he's going to blow up. Like these are the only 2 songs he has out on his Spotify page. I feel like he probably had more at some point, but took them all down to get a fresh start with PG Lang. But it's almost inevitable that he drops an album this year. And then I wouldn't be surprised to see a feature from at least Baby Keem, maybe even
Kendrick. Yeah, maybe he's on the next Kendrick project.
So there's a lot of potential for Tana Leone. So go show him some love.
Moving on here. Kid Named Cudi by Kid Cudi, of course, is coming to streaming services very soon. What are your thoughts on that?
Kid Cudi obviously has had some hits throughout his career. Some of those haven't been on streaming services. The Prayer is like one of my favorite all-time Kid Cudi songs. And so the thought of that being on streaming services soon really excites me. Really looking forward to that. What are you thinking about the addition to this project?
I'm excited. I love when they're finally able to get those, like whether it's samples or anything. I've said this multiple times, but I love when it's finally able to be on streaming services, limits, maybe I don't go back to the project as much, but limits just the average fan of Kid Cudi from going back and forth from streaming services. So,
but this makes me think about mixtapes that are not on streaming services. Is there one mixtape that you could add to streaming services in a perfect world?
So, of course, they're going to go back to Peep here, such a big SoundCloud artist. They've gotten Hellboy and Crybaby cleared onto that, but his self-titled first mixtape, Lil Peep Part 1, that would definitely be one. Songs like The Way I See Things and Praying to the Sky, those are still ones I go back to SoundCloud for, of course. They also have Ghost Boy on there. So, I mean, just a lot of classic tracks for me that I would love to have just all on one streaming service. How about you?
That's a pretty crazy choice. I know you're very into Peep, but I feel like all the really good OG Peep is on streaming services now. I don't even know those songs, so I'm about to go back and give those a listen. So you kind of put me on, so thank you for that. But my choice is going to be Royalty by Childish Gambino. This is like such an underrated mixtape to me. He's got crazy features from like RZA and Danny Brown, Nipsey Hussle. Like, I think those are.
Yeah.
What do you say?
That's jam-packed there.
Yeah. Like, I think that project went under the radar. Like, those are huge names, especially when it dropped. And I feel like it should be bigger than it is. And so maybe if you got to streaming services, it would be. So I personally have it added, I guess, to my, Spotify library, but it's just like, I don't know, the quality is not perfect and all this stuff as it would be if it was on streaming services and easily accessible. And I just kind of want it for other people to listen to it because I feel like it's a project that's overlooked in Gambino's discography.
Definitely. And I just would love, just for all, in a perfect world, all samples to be cleared and everything to get all those tracks on there. maybe one day. But
Maybe.
moving on, Travis Scott creates Project Heal, including academic scholarships, mental health resources, creative design center, and more. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, it's obviously been a rough couple months for Travis after the tragedy at Astroworld Fest. And so for him to kind of be back into doing things, at least, like you saw he was on Down to 2, and then he's been in public a little bit more. I feel like recently he was at the Nets versus 76ers game last night. Now this initiative. So it's really good to see that he's kind of, getting back in the public eye, kind of getting over the grieving process and kind of moving forward. And I think that's important because obviously what happened is a horrible tragedy, but something like this is just the start to moving forward and making the community better. So I'm excited to see what this project does for Houston, and I'm excited to see what's next for Travis in the future. What did you think about this whole Project Heal?
I mean, it's great to see, and it's not one of those things that's rushed and, publicity stunt to get, the eyes off what was going on. It's something that was truly thought out about, where are they going to get this money from? What are they going to do with the money? So, it's great to see, of course. So, hopefully this is another step of getting Travis back to, where Travis was.
Yeah. And I mean, you look back at like mental health resources and creative design. Those are kind of things that are very overlooked in minority communities and poor communities. And so for those to be available in Houston for free or very affordable, that's a great thing for the next generation of people growing up in Houston.
Definitely great to see. And then our last thought here on the news, Cardi B becomes the first female artist to have 4 tracks reach 1 billion streams on Spotify with Girls Like You, I Like It, WAP, and Taki Taki. What are your thoughts on that?
4 songs with 1 billion is just like crazy. Like, I don't know how many like Drake has or Kanye. I don't Kanye might not have that many because I don't know. I think he doesn't have that many like pop hits like these Cardi B songs. Like, that's crazy. I don't know. Like, I was pretty shocked to see these numbers.
Crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. It's not the Drakes, the Kendricks, the Kanyes ruling the streaming platforms with, these huge numbers. Like we had talked about it a few episodes ago with X, having the, what was it? The largest streaming album ever. And it's not these, mega stars that you'd expect. It's people coming out with consistent hits and everything that have more pop appeal, of course.
Yeah. I mean, these songs, one, Taki Taki, you look at that, has such international appeal. So that kind of made sense. Girls Like You by Maroon 5, that was a huge pop song, but I didn't know it was on this level. Like, obviously I've heard it here and there. I don't got my way to listen to it, but like 1 billion, like that's pretty shocking. And then obviously I Like It and WAP are just hits. But I mean, like WAP is a crazy explicit song. Like for that to have 1 billion plays is crazy. I'm not mad at it, but it's just crazy. Like, I didn't know it was that generally popular.
Definitely. And it's great to see, especially from a female artist to, have the most tracks that are, with 1 billion streams. Cardi B is a great artist and everything, of course. What would your favorite track be from Cardi B? You can choose a featured one or just a personal favorite.
Okay. I don't listen to Cardi B that much, but I'm going to have to go with the Finesse remix by Bruno Mars or Party or Cardi. I think both those songs go pretty hard differently, but both go hard. What about you?
This is like, back in, what was it, 2018 when Culture 2 came out with that feature on Motorsport with her and Nicki Minaj. I didn't know how it'd come out, but the chemistry between those two is very good. And I think they both killed it. That's one of my favorite verses 2018. I can't lie, another hit by the Migos, of course. And I think she outdid every other artist on that track. So
I'm not mad at that. Song is pretty fire. But to move into some questions from the audience this week, we got 2 good questions, but we're running a little low. So if you got a question, hit us on Instagram, let us know in the comments on YouTube, and we'll get to your question. But let's get into these. First, a question from Devin. If you could choose any rapper for a new version of Def Jam Fight for NY, who would you choose?
Give me the baby, man. We were talking about it the other day, and I was like, yeah, probably the baby is about that life. He's got bodies. He's got bodies on his name. So, Give me the baby, of course. Who would your pick be?
Yeah, I was thinking the baby too. I mean, you look at that bowling alley fight recently, he's just a demon sometimes, but my answer was the game. Huge. He's like 6'7", and you can tell he's also about that life. I think I've definitely seen videos of him like doing boxing practice and stuff like that. But
he's athletic too. Yeah.
Oh, super athletic. I feel like when I'm like looking into like MMA fights and stuff like that, I always look at the reach. In that game, he's 6'7". I'm sure he's got a big reach on him. I would take him in almost any fight.
Definitely. And then this is kind of, it wasn't a troll question to me. I'm genuinely interested to hear your response here. Are there more wheels or doors in the world from Mauricio?
Team wheels.
Thank you. Everybody's making the point, like what about all these large skyscrapers and everything, or every house, but I have a computer chair. You probably have a computer chair. I mean, one of your family members has a computer chair. That's 4 or 5 wheels right there. Cars, of course. There's just numbers of things.
Exactly. And like even look at a car, you got 4 wheels plus maybe a spare, and that outnumbers the door. So every car that has a spare is +1 for team wheels. And then, like I said, chairs, I have a clothes rack that has wheels. Like those are just things on my top of my
dressers
head.
Have wheels on them.
So many things. Definitely team wheels. I definitely like the argument for doors though. Like when I was thinking about skyscrapers, I'm like, okay, like that, that's a good argument.
This almost, it didn't flip my side, of course. I'm team wheels till I die, but think about all the caskets.
Ooh, that's a lot. That's a good point.
That is a lot of people who have died and everything as well. So I mean,
I think it all depends on what you consider a door. Like I was also saying, do you consider like a microwave door? Do you consider an oven a door? And like I could see the argument for yes, but I don't know. We'll let TikTok.
I'm going solidified doors here, but let us know in the comments what you guys think. Are there more wheels or are there more doors in the world?
I think we have to run the poll on IG, and we'll get back to you next episode with a solidified answer from the community. But I think that just about wraps it up. I think this was a really good episode. Our first guest, really enjoyed getting to talk with them about some experiences growing up, gives you guys a better look at our childhood, and then our experience at music festivals, and then our taste in music and developing our own. Let us know any topics you want us to get into with future guests, or just guests you want us to have on the show in general. Anything else you want to add?
No, keep coming with questions. I'm about out here, so just hammer some questions, guys, please. We'll have an Instagram poll up this week for you guys to put some questions on. As always, guys, thank you for listening. Tune in next week for another great episode. Peace, guys.
See you guys next week. Make sure to show some love on our Instagram post today. Give us a like, give us a share on the story, as well as